Greetings, natives, and welcome again to my podcast, Che Motswana. And on today's episode, we are looking at Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead is not what Dawn of the Dead was. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead was the first movie that Zack Snyder made in 2004, and it was basically a remake of a George Romero classic zombie movie. It was gritty. It was practical effects. So with Army of the Dead, he's on the other end of it, where you see this guy later on, like close to over 20 years now in the business. He has a definite style, and he is even shooting his own movie, and he is telling the story the way he wants to tell it. He's not trying to remake someone's movie. He is telling his own story his own way, and he takes a couple of risks, and some of the risks pay off, and some of the risks don't really pay off. But which are basically one, that there will be blood and gore, slow mo, and pulling of focus. And number 4, there will be some social commentary, and all that is set up within the opening title sequence. And yeah, man, love or hate Snyder, man, nobody does those title sequences as good as he does. I think there's a lot of gore and blood aplenty, and this goes from people being ripped apart by zombies to machine guns ripping people apart with the bullets, from zombies and tigers ripping people apart. Like, basically there's a lot of ripping apart, but the violence is Kill Bill's kind of violence. It's highly stylized, and it is not that realistic unless you're one of those people who just doesn't want to see blood. The Army of the Dead for me is basically Zack Snyder's Suicide Squad meets Planet of the Apes with zombies thrown in for good measure. Cause man, people are expendable here. There's like when you watch movies, there's always like plot armor around characters that man, this one is not gonna die because he's either likable or he's too integral for the story, or gestering, as we used to call them back in the 80s. There's none of that in this movie, and I know some people are complaining online like, oh man, he killed a lot of the cool people we like, and I'm like, that's a good thing. Like, the fact that Snyder is so comfortable in like, yo, man, I'm doing the story, I'm doing it my way. You're coming in for the ride. If it means I'm gonna kill off these cool characters that I've created, so be it. And it worked for me. Some of my stand out favorite characters is starting off with David Bautista as Scott Ward. I love the fact that he's an action guy. He's buff. He can show that he can emote. He shows that he can do drama. We know that he can do comedy. We know that he can do action. But in this movie, Dave Bautista really shows that, hey man, I can act. I'm an actor's actor, man. I'm not just the guy from the wrestling match who can just do pump muscles and act like he's disappearing when he's not disappearing, But he can act, and I really felt like the movie played to his strength and showcased some of his abilities. My other character that I really loved was Samantha Wynn. Samantha Wynn plays Chambers. Man, the last time I saw such a incredible female action figure was Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor Terminator 2, not Sarah Connor, the previous Terminator movie where she's old and stuff. Yeah, no, the Sarah Connor from Terminator 2. That's how good Samantha Wynn is as Chambers, that she's at that level. And every cool movie or every ensemble movie needs that duo that you just love seeing them getting at each other's throats, finding a friendship that's genuine and touching. And that's what you get with our man Ghost, aka Omari Hardwick as Vanderho, and the sweet German dude. I mean, of the Dead made a German dude come across as the sweetest guy in the entire movie. Matthias, I don't know how to pronounce his surname, so I'm not going to even try. The relationship between the two was lovely to see. It gave us one of the best genre reversals in a long time, and I really liked it. I dug it. I'm not going to go into it, so I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it yet. And then the other character that I really liked was the lady, Tig Notara from Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, that Tig Notara. She came in to replace one of the actors got into some underage teenager woman thing that he was not supposed to. They digitally put her in the movie to replace the dude, and it works. And Tig Notaro is very good with the cynicism, and the character that he's playing is, it was basically written for her, and she's lovely to watch. The stuff that didn't work for me doesn't really have to do with the killing. It has to do with some of the character choices that were given, and actors that were given a lot of room. Zack Snyder is really good when he's doing stories that are written by other people for him. He might come up with a story, but he doesn't do the screenplay. And those stories are cool. Whenever he does, or the other time where he did come up with a story and did the screenplay, we got Sucker Punch. And Sucker Punch is one of my least favorite Zack Snyder movie. And with Army of the Dead, he wrote it, he directed it, he shot it. And story choices, man. And the story choices don't always work out quite nicely. And one of the biggest culprit where I felt like, I wish he had gotten someone else to write this thing for him was around Kate Ward, Dave Bautista's daughter, man. She is the most infuriating character that I've ever seen in any movie, to a point where whenever she was on screen and whenever she made decisions, I was like, what the I was like, man, can't you just kill her off already? She was one of those characters where she was endangering everybody. She's self-righteous, and she's probably became like the third villain without meaning to become the third villain. There was a douchebag private security guy who's a douchebag because he's a douchebag. And if you have like that douchebag private security dude, but Kate Ward is more infuriating than the douchebag private security guy, that it was a mishap of some sort. And then the other mishap was the movie is ripe for so much social commentary, and it's there, but it's not milked enough. Snyder puts in this idea of the camp, and then people being placed in the camp because they're undesirables and they can't leave. The idea of people being tested for the temperatures, like what we're going through now with COVID, and how that has been weaponized against people. So if someone doesn't like you, they can like say, hey man, you've got your temperature is low, and then you get wiped out. But also the idea of the character of the coyote, because the coyote in the US, coyotes are like the guys who smuggle in immigrants. There's those threads, man. There's those threads that you needed, like a Chris Terrio. So the script has a lot of cool ideas that just needed someone to finesse them a little bit more and to give them a little bit more nuance. And I think someone like a Chris Terrio would have done that. But that was a miss point for me. All the great zombie movies at their heart are a social critique of capitalism. You look at Shaun of the Dead or Train to Busan, you name them. Like they are commenting on society, either that how class is used, and how, like, an example in Train to Busan, you have the idea of class in South Korea, and how the wealthy exploit everybody else, and they don't care about everybody else. Like how capitalism is about, hey, you're important because you have money, and everybody else doesn't matter. You need to survive because you are money, then everybody else doesn't. It's all about you. It's not about the community. And Shaun of the Dead touches on the idea of how modern day life has basically turned us into zombies. Like this commute to going to work and doing dead end jobs and stuff is slowly being attached to our phones and computers. Is slowly making us less human, and taking out that thing that drive that makes us us, and all those elements were there in the movie, but they were not milked enough. And I wish he had done that. But when everything is said and done, though, Zack Snyder has given us a lot of Easter eggs in the story. He's given us story and spectacle, and you can clearly see that he's like, you know what? I've got all these ideas. I'm setting up my sequel, and I'm setting up my prequels. And this is not the last we hear of Army of the Dead. We have it's already been confirmed that they're doing like an anime version of the prequel, where we get to see what happened to the guy Zeus, the guy who was leading the zombies, and how he became what he became, like that alpha zombie, and that whole story of how he got to Vegas. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we're gonna get like a prequel with what's his name? Yeah. We're gonna get a prequel with the German dude, so we get to see him before he joined the team. And the movie sets up a nice sequel, and I really hope the sequel happens very soon, because man, so yeah, it may not be a great zombie movie. And when I say great zombie movie, I mean like something like Train to Busan, where it works very well on all different levels: entertainment, spectacle, social commentary, and you're not confused on what's happening, and the characters are all there. I feel like it could have been tightened a little bit. I didn't mind the running, the how long it ran. I just minded that some certain characters didn't need to be there, and because they were there, it impacted the rest of the story. Yeah, I was having my little debates with the script, with the script as I was watching it, but it aside from that, though, everything else works. There's a lovely bunch of characters. It has nice action sequences. It has moments of social commentary that they could have done more with, and it's a sort of movie that you can sit there and watch with your friends, and your friends will probably enjoy it if they're not like movie buffs who want to be like overly critical over stuff. And I feel like it will do very well at Netflix. I give this movie a 3 out of 5. I would have wanted to give it a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, but some of the character choices that were made just took stuff away from me. But I am looking forward to the prequels and the sequels. That was my review of Army of the Dead. Please like or subscribe, and hit me in the comment sections. Tell me what movies or series that you want me to look at and to review. And most importantly, I'm currently working on a couple of essays around South African film and television programs. So if you have ideas or you want an essay done on a South African film or a South African topic, please let me know in the comments, and I will definitely do it. I will see you next time. Sharp, sharp, my gents.